Well,
This
welcome
dance.
everyone. Yeah, I know. I get going with the music too. Welcome everyone to Mindful Mondays with Laura Cross, where we are your resource for education, connection, and collaboration. And I am excited to have with me today Andrea Horton-Mericli. And she is a dynamic leader, advocate, and entrepreneur whose life and career have been shaped by her intersectional identity and a mixed race Latina. As a mixed race Latina, military brat, which I can relate to too, and an individual from a low income background. So her journey is one of resilience, determination, and she's got a steadfast commitment to diversity and inclusion. She's the founder and CEO of Diversifuse, a DEI consulting company dedicated to advancing diversity, equity, yeah, yeah, it's just not words I use every day. Equity and inclusion in various sectors. It's one of those days, as Andrea knows. So, Andrea, thank you and welcome.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for being with us today.
Thank you so much for having me and inviting me to be a guest. I'm
Yeah.
excited.
So, if it's okay with you, I would love to start with you sharing a little bit with about your or sharing your journey with us and how you came to become the founder of and CEO of Diversifuse.
Yeah. So, as you sort of talked about, I'm a mixed race Latina. So my mother's from Veracruz, Mexico, and my dad is white Anglo, and he was the one in the military. So we moved around a lot. And when my dad got out of the military, we moved back to El Paso, Texas, where my mother's originally came to from Mexico, and I saw the differences in how people were treated, and even as a mixed race, even though it's a border town, there was I didn't fit in anywhere. Whereas in the military, being in the military schools, I felt fine, but
Mm-hmm.
once I was out in the community, it was almost like transitioning from military life to civilian life, and it was a whole different story. And so my identity issues started there, and um, though I was excelled in school and all, and then as I got to university, I realized the discrepancies in the public school systems, because I came from a low income area in El Paso, Texas, and thought I was doing great. I was top of my class, taking challenging courses, but I was in a low income school district. And my dorm roommate was in a public school systems in Texas as well, but she was from a wealthier family, Clear Lake, where NASA is. Her father was a NASA engineer. Her mother was a private music teacher. And it opened up my eyes to, I was like struggling. There was things I had never seen before. I never learned. We were in similar majors. And she's like, she didn't have to crack a book except just to do her homework really quickly. And so that started the eye-opening even more, and the struggles of being technically a first generation college student, not having anybody to guide me, really not knowing anything about services that were offered to students, and all. I had no direction, no guidance, and it was a struggle. And then into the workforce, so I changed universities and all, and then found myself at university and really grew, but then got into the workforce. And again, it's like a Latina, mixed race Latina, who isn't fluent in Spanish, who and I'm working on that though.
You and
And
me both. I got Duolingo. I've been practicing my
yeah,
Spanish. Yeah.
yep, because it's very important. Bilingual, knowing other languages is very important in today's world. And so it's just the being seen as a label. I felt that I was just a checkbox in certain in companies, and I even overheard one of my managers saying, "Oh, we got our Mexican." I was like, "It's like what?" I was like, "Wow!" And hitting those glass ceilings, and being told things like, oh, if you want to move up, you're in the wrong organization, and not having any mentorship or guidance. This was in my later
Hmm.
years as a
Yeah.
professional. But let me kind of backtrack a little bit. Soon after college, I graduated university, I got my alternative teacher certification, taught special ed, loved it. Taught middle school, loved it. You never knew who was walking through the door that day. But and but I taught in low income schools because that's I wanted to. And I heard how the teachers were talking about students, great students,
Mhm.
and it made me think like, I bet the teachers that at the schools I went to when I was younger said the same thing. Like, we're never going to make anything of ourselves. We're not going to, they can't take any more challenges and things like that. It was very,
It's very sad.
yeah, I couldn't find the right word. Yeah, no,
No,
sad,
that
yeah,
is very sad
gut
that
wrenching.
they
Yeah.
prejudge whether it's from stereotypes, their
Hmm.
background, because that's to me,
Yeah.
that's really not what they should be there for at all.
Exactly. I mean, even the school district, there was students being bussed down a huge busy street, about a mile and a half, because they lived in a trailer park. But they could have walked a block and a half to the middle school that was closest to them. But that middle school was had the upper middle class, had 5-star ratings, and you know there was rezoned.
Mhm. Yeah.
And because low income students go to that school, and yeah, it's very nerve wracking. And I even had students, and as I said, I taught special ed, not um, the classrooms where it was like severe physical and mental disabilities, but resource classes like that
Right.
were of individuals with learning disabilities, and I had some students say, why do you care so much? And it's like, because they've been labeled all their lives. And these were just middle school students. And for them to I mean, kids, they know how you think about them.
Yeah.
And so they already felt labeled. So they thought, why should I even try? Nobody wants to challenge me. No, I might as well just fit that label. And um, it was very sad because it makes me wonder how many people are falling through the cracks of our systems because of labeling and stereotyping and just implicit biases and straight out biases and prejudices that people have. And so these are all the reasons, like between my own struggles and struggles of people that I either taught or clients I had, because I did serve a lot of immigrants and refugee populations in one of my previous jobs with career services and career counseling, and also case management for the community services and all. And I saw all the a lot of stereotyping and not knowing how to interact, or not wanting to interact with individuals from certain countries. And it it just fueled my passion for this work.
Yeah.
So when my last contract ended last year, I was like, I have the time. I always made the excuse of, I don't have time, I don't have time, I don't have time, to start a business. And so I finally had the time, and I was like, no more excuses. I'm going to take advantage of the time I have and start my business and in consulting. And so it's Diversifuse DEI Consulting. I recently added on, which I did have in my services, but it wasn't a focus. But I sort of changed the title, so it's Diversifuse DEI and career consulting. So my career consulting is with a DEI focus to help individuals who feel marginalized and are hitting barriers, feel like they're hitting barriers, or barriers are in the way for them to reach their goal.
Yeah. And I think a lot of us, I mean, I know I grew up with the stereotypes and the, you know, all the sayings and stuff. And as you get older and you start looking at it, and it's like, okay, why? Why are
Yeah,
we so quick to judge everybody else? Why can we
yeah.
not just treat everyone else as a decent human being that
Hmm.
they are? But we have so
Yeah.
much negativity getting dumped on us. You're around stereotypes, you're in different areas. There's
Hmm.
areas of the world or parts of the world that are just still like stuck way back. And it's
Yeah,
like and then sometimes I think we go too far when we move forward, and it's like, okay. I mean, everything has its, there's a balance, I think, to it. But
yeah. There is, and but it's important to state that everybody has biases. It's natural to have implicit biases, unconscious biases, but biases, I should say.
Yeah.
But it's us knowing that we have them, assessing ourselves, self-reflecting, and not acting
I was just
on
saying,
those
not acting on
biases.
them. Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
You don't have to
Yeah,
act on them just because someone's not your cup of tea doesn't mean you have to go out of your way to be nasty. You just let
exactly.
them be what they're doing and you do what you
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
you do what you do. It really should be that simple, I think.
Hmm.
But so how do you think by embracing diversity, how can that enhance our understanding of the world around us in your
Well,
in your perspective?
yeah. So again, it all starts with self-reflection because it's as our world has become more globalized over the past decades, past century, really, a couple, and it's, there's been a lot of mixing of races and
Mhm.
cultures and stuff through marriages and other and some unforeseen circumstances. um, and so it's important to realize that you should not judge people by what they look like on the outside or what you feel that they look like on the outside, and just assume how they are on the inside. It's like not judging a book by its cover, but it's very important in today's world and moving forward that um, people value diversity and inclusion because we are all diverse. Humans in general are
Yeah.
complicated creatures. So, I mean, it's
That we are.
yeah, and so and diversity just brings a flavor to things. So I like to relate diversity to food because it's all about food and
Yeah.
spices. So
Right.
so
The spice
nobody
of
really likes
life.
exactly. Nobody really likes bland food. Some people add salt in it. That's adding some spice. Some people add pepper. Some people add oregano or whatever. So the more spices, depending on the mixture and stuff, it's it can take on it can create a beautiful flavor at the end, a beautiful work of art. And it's the same thing with diversity. Diversity adds flavor, adds differences, and in beauty to the world, because if everybody was the same, it would be very, very boring and dull, and um, and our race would probably become extinct before we knew it, because no one would want to interact with each other.
You're
Everybody would get on
boring.
each other's nerves because everybody's the same.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
but diversity and inclusion, I mean, just brings, as I said, a richness to the world and innovation, more better ideas. You get different people's perspectives because everybody has different backgrounds. Even
Mhm.
if you're from the same race, somebody might have grown up on the low income, another person might have grown up in a more well-to-do neighborhood,
Right.
and they have different experiences. And so as they get older and maybe they're working together now, they bring different ideas based on their backgrounds, ideas that somebody else may not have even thought of or considered. And in today's day and age, when everything's not everything, but a lot of more things are getting online,
Mhm.
consumerism and stuff, you are reaching a broader audience. And if your workplace is diverse, you have the chances of you being able to better serve consumers globally, recognizing the differences in cultures and tastes and what's accepted and what's not in certain cultures, increases. And also when customers or even students, say you're at a university and you're trying to get prospective students to your school, people want to see people that look like them, and if it's all the same type of person on, granted on the outside, again, that's stereotype,
Right.
but if everybody looks the similar
Mhm.
and sounds similar and has and all, they're going to lose customers because the chances of them knowing how to serve different populations decrease as effectively.
Right.
Serve them as effectively decrease.
Oh, and
So
like you said, it's reflection and it's, perspective. Normally, if we're
yeah,
criticizing someone else, it's normally we're criticizing them about something we don't like about ourselves. It's not
yeah,
necessarily
exactly.
personal. It's just that we're unhappy with something ourselves. We may not recognize it, but you attack somebody else from it. But,
Yeah.
that's like the Duolingo learning Spanish. Everybody's like, why? I'm like, because I think it'd be fun. I hated it when I was forced to do it in school.
Hmm.
I used to hate the fact that I'm like, okay, I got this for that. I'm in America. It should be English. Well, okay, but we are a melting pot, so why
Yeah.
can we not be a little more, accepting? I don't plan on stopping there. I plan on going into, because I knew some German, but I plan on going to
Oh,
there because I think it's fascinating. I think
it is.
it's actually fascinating to see how people speak and put things together, and
Hmm.
it's different. I mean, I can see your word diversifuse. If it's not already in our dictionary, it probably will be because, as everybody will tell you, Americans are the worst. Our dictionary keeps growing because we put a word and we make it so, and whoop, next thing you know, guess
Yep.
what? That's in the dictionary now. Stuff that we were told was not in the dictionary in our time, we could say it is now. Good, look, ain't
Yeah.
ain't
Yep.
is there, and it is a word.
Yeah, you're right. Ain't is like, oh my God.
Give
But
it time. Give it time. Yeah, it'll be there. Yeah.
yeah, but it's also important to know that the United States doesn't have um, officially documented an official language because we are a melting pot. And yeah, our main language is English, but we don't have a officially federally mandated official language.
Right.
And so,
But
and
if
if
you
you think
talk to
about
the
it, Native
UK, if you
Americans,
talk
they
to the
didn't speak.
UK and England, they will tell you we are not English.
Oh no, they still call
Our
us
English is
Yanks.
our English is like way off. And so, eh, yeah,
Yeah, when I lived and worked in Turkey, and some of my colleagues were from England, and they still call us Yanks, and I was like, but I'm from Texas, you know, but you're still a Yank. I'm like,
oh,
I'm
oh
like,
yeah,
we
yeah,
weren't calling it. What are you calling it?
yeah, and it's fine and it's fun when you
So,
have a sense of humor. What
yeah,
anyway,
yeah,
but it's always there. I'm not sure we're ever going to see it totally go away. I
yeah.
just hope with what you're doing, maybe it can bring a different light and a different perspective to it.
Me too. Because as you said a little earlier, we should be treating people as people. People, not how. I mean, best case how they would like to be treated, but worst case how we would like to be treated,
Right.
um, and um, and nothing less than that, because we are humans. We all want to be valued, heard, respected, and invested in, especially as employees or as students, and even from your family members. I mean, you want to be invested in. You want to know that you mean something, and that your voice matters. So,
Yeah.
and with that, as workplaces are becoming more diverse and classrooms are becoming more diverse too, um, with the workplace, it's important for mentorship, regardless of race. It doesn't matter what color, race, ethnicity, religion, sexual orientation, disability status, vet status. It doesn't matter who that new employee is,
Right.
they should automatically get a mentor,
Hmm.
because I mean it's only gonna show them that you value them, and that they have somebody to go to with questions.
Yeah. And you can learn
And
from so much from each
yeah,
other. You can learn
hmm,
perspectives from each other.
yeah,
I don't know if you ever
yep.
went to any of the military type schools when you were stationed certain places overseas, but even that's different from from
It
the
is,
regular schools. I went through a
it
DoD
is,
school when I was in Germany, and then he came back and was like, "Oh, this is different." So
it is.
yeah, yeah, definitely
But
differences. So, in what
hmm
ways can resilience play a crucial role in navigating challenges related to one's intersectional identity?
oh, resilience, yeah, just knowing, I mean, people are going to be people, and you're never going to be able to please everyone. You're going to get rejections. You're going to get, um, some people may not be the nicest to you. And unfortunately, that's just part of life, as we know it today. Because no matter how many people there are talking about respecting each other, embracing each other, valuing each other, there's going to be people that don't follow suit.
Right.
So being resilient, and having resilience is important because it's yeah, it's going to hurt when it happens to you, but you can't make it stop yourself from progressing and keep showing up to things, because um, if you let it get to you and it makes you stop doing what you're doing, investing in yourself, investing in your own progress and your own development, if you let it deflate your self-confidence and self-esteem. Now, of course, there's always going to be times where, like a day or so where you're like, oh my God, where you're a little depressed.
Yeah.
That's normal, but you get up the next day and you keep going. And because if you show somebody who may not have been the nicest to you that they got to you, it just opens the door
Mm-hmm.
for more of that treatment.
Yeah.
And it's sort of like bullying in school. Kids can be mean to each other. They're still learning.
They're still mean. They're still, yeah. Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
They haven't
So
changed.
kids, yeah, I know.
I think they got a little
So,
worse nowadays, but yeah.
especially with the online stuff. Oh my gosh, they can be mean online now. But
Yeah.
yeah. So it's very important to have that positive self-talk and those mantras. Some people put post-its, of positive sayings to keep them motivated.
Mm-hmm.
So when they wake up, it's like on their nightstand or on their bathroom mirror, or on their kitchen refrigerator door, in their car, they have it on their screensaver, different mantras, because positive self-talk is helps to increase your self-esteem, helps to increase your self-confidence, gives you that empowerment to keep going. And on the opposite side, negative self-talk, which I need to look to see if there's studies on this, but I know there's studies in employment where women tend to be more timid than their male counterparts in talking themselves out of things, promotions, talking themselves out of applying to certain positions, salary negotiations,
Yep.
compared to the male counterparts who oftentimes don't have as much experience or education, and they're like, yeah, I'm gonna go for it. Not to say that our um, individuals who identify as male don't have negative self-talk. They definitely do. They have a lot of pressures. Both sexes have a lot
Mm-hmm.
of pressures on them, and but that negative self-talk can be your worst nightmare, very deflating. And because we are our best friend, but we can be our worst enemy.
Yes,
No
we can.
one, yeah, and we've all been, well, many of us have been there,
Yep.
and have had that talk given to us. But it's um, it's important to have that positive self-talk because uh, you have to keep showing up. Being your best friend is the most important thing if others are going to accept you and be attracted to you. People are attracted to confident people.
Yeah.
People are attracted to individuals with self-esteem. They walk in a room, they light it up because they're confident. And sometimes it's a facade. They're acting the part,
Right.
but the more you act the part, the easier it becomes.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not telling.
Like attracts like, and that's why
Yeah.
you want to be around that. If you walk into a room
Yeah.
and something's draining all your energy and stuff, it's like you need another room. You need to find
Yeah.
your tribe and you need another room.
Yep. Yeah, like that Debbie Downer.
Yeah. Yep.
And
Yeah.
so I mean, I'm not saying like become, big headed and, pardon my language, pompous, a pompous
Oh
bleep,
yeah,
bleep, bleep.
yeah.
And so it's nobody likes a pompous bleep, bleep, bleep either.
Right.
So, but having just great self-esteem, self-confidence, um, things are going to open up for you because you're going to keep showing up,
Yeah.
and you having that self-confidence, you learn from your mistakes. You're able to open your eyes. You're able to sit back and reflect and assess. Okay, I didn't get this position, or this didn't go my way. What happened? Let me evaluate things and see what I can do better next time to hopefully get a different result. And that's all part of being resilient. Is now, as I said, it's things are going to hurt when they get hurt your feelings and your self-esteem to a certain a point, but you just got to keep going. And individuals who fall in some kind of marginalized population tend to have this resilience a lot more because they get so much more negativity thrown on them
Yeah.
because they don't fit that mold that society has put in place as this is the norm, so
I got news for you. We have no norm.
I
Norm
know,
is
exactly.
whatever
There
we make
is
it.
no norm. It is like, exactly. I'm like, what?
We have a
And
lot more. Yeah, we
this
have a
made
lot more
up
to dive
norm.
into, but we're going to have to
Mm.
take a break from a quick word from our sponsors. But hang with us because we're going to be talking about the personal experiences, that shape it and why it's important to advocate for diversity. So we will be right back.
Hey, we got soul. Oh yeah, we got soul.
So, Andrea, tell us, why is it important to advocate for diversity and inclusion in all aspects of society?
Yeah, so thank you for that question. And I love that you asked in all aspects of society, not just workplaces, not just
Oh yeah, it's,
educational
it's
institutions.
everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. It's important to advocate for diversity and inclusion in all aspects of society because people are just have it's easier for people to get to and from places these days across the world, and our societies and communities at large are becoming more diverse, whether it's with tourism or visiting students at universities or visiting professors at universities, medical professionals from other countries. They have those global nurse programs, global doctor programs, and just immigrants and refugees and people moving for business purposes across the globe. And so with them, oftentimes they're bringing their families, which could be anywhere from birth, or in the womb to almost death. And so it's like, because sometimes they bring their parents over. And so we can be interacting when we're outside in the world, we can bump into somebody, interact with somebody from any part of the world, really. I've met people from uh, Russia, Belarus, Ukraine, Turkey, I mean, all over, Australia, Canada, I mean, South America. And it's important to treat them as human beings. Because they are human beings,
Mm-hmm.
and just have everyday conversations and get to know them, and let them feel included and welcomed, because that's how you would want to feel if you went and visited the countries that they are originally from. Nobody likes to go someplace and feel lost um, and alone. I like to compare it to when you're like you go to a party.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you go stag, like maybe your friend or your partner was unable to attend last minute, so you go and you don't know anybody there, maybe one person, but most of us have been there, where if you're not very outgoing, you don't know how to start a conversation. So it's those people that make it a point to go and say hello to you, or talk
Yeah.
with you, that start to make you feel included and break you out of your shell, make you feel more comfortable. But diversity and inclusion, I'm just going to say DEI. DEI, which is diversity, equity, and inclusion, is important because we're a globalized world, and we just need to be able to get along if progress is going to happen, whether it's in the classroom, at the grocery store, wherever it may be, in a Zumba class. I mean, it's like, and a lot of people from different countries, I'm just going to put this out there, um, are very self-conscious about their accents. This is totally off the wall here, but they're very self-conscious about their accents. So when they're speaking English to you, and they are speaking English to people, it's important not to say, "What? I don't understand what you're saying," and because that's just that almost like stabbing them, and making them want to retract and not speak. Like, to this day, my husband refuses to call the doctor to make an appointment. He wants to do things online, because he's Turkish, and so I don't hear his accent, but I mean, people do. I've become used to it, but it's just important to have that patience, that understanding, that flexibility, um, um, even when conversing with individuals, because that is part of being inclusive,
Yeah.
and making them feel welcomed and valued and heard. And
Well, then that could be a tough situation, because I've had that
mhm.
before, and I think it's beautiful and I love it. But sometimes, and especially if they're speaking fast and it has
Yes,
that
yes.
accent. Now, you don't even have to
Hmm.
be, I will tell you, from another country to have an accent. Because for me, Texans have an accent, and I need an
What do you
interpreter.
mean, y'all?
Y'all, yantu, winders, you chicken. And I'm like, okay, hold on. It just takes a minute. It's
It
actually
does.
kind
It
of
does.
fun, but it takes a minute.
Hmm.
They're like, you ain't from around here, are you? I'm like, no.
Yep.
I've watched, swamp people where they used to have to put captions on there. I don't have to read captions anymore. I got it now. It just took a
Yeah.
little bit. But normally I would be
And
like, I
yeah,
am so sorry, but I didn't
it.
quite catch that, because it's just, sometimes it throws you off, or if they go too fast, it's hard to catch. And eh,
Hmm.
I would love to hear them speak, because I love their
Yeah.
accent and stuff. But I don't want to, on the other hand, you don't want to sit there and smile and say, yeah, like you understand. And it just went whoop,
Actually, and it
right
happens
over.
both ways. It happens both ways. So when you realize you're speaking to somebody that has an accent, whether it's the same country or a different country, it's okay to say, "I'm sorry. Can you? I'm new to this accent. I love it, but can you restate what you said? And maybe speak a little slower until I get used to your accent. It's fine." Um, and with individuals from other countries, I'm going to use an interview example. Um, sometimes they'll agree to something because they don't want to look stupid, or like they don't understand or know what the job's about, but it's because they didn't understand a word. In other words,
Right.
um, native speakers, and wherever you go, I mean, even regional, you have your regional vernacular terms and stuff. Like when I moved from Texas to Pittsburgh, I was like, what's a yins? You know, what? Yins? It's their version of y'all. And it's like, oh. It's like, and there's other terms that I still don't know. But it takes some... Ewans, yeah,
Ewans. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. I always like to try to figure out where they're from. Now, I can be really off sometimes because, you know, even though I was born, hatched, whatever you want to call it, in Massachusetts, normally you can pick up people when they park the car in the Harvard Yard and go have a beer. And I was talking to a guy and he had that, and I was like, I think
Boston.
yes. Oh, he goes, you're way off from New Jersey. I'm like, Jersey. Okay, well, he had the Jersey accent. I mean, everybody's got their own accent.
Yeah.
And of course, East Coast will talk very fast.
Yeah. Yep. And yeah, we all have our own styles, the different regions, and it's the same in all countries. They all have their different accents and vernaculars and lingo.
But you stated it perfectly. Start out with a positive. You don't have to God, what, you know, no, I love the accent. Just start out with positive, but hey,
it's new to me. Yeah.
It's new to me. Can we dial it back?
And it's like, what does that mean? I mean, start conversing, and the more you can speak with someone with an accent from that area, you're going to get it. You're going to pick things up, but it's okay to stop and say, but as you said, start positive with a positive and say, like, can you repeat that, or can you speak a little slower? I wasn't able to pick up what you said. It's fine. And someone with in an interview, it's okay to say, I'm sorry, can you say that a different way? Or can you speak slower? Or I need a moment to reply, to think of my response or something like that. But DEI is, it's going to be with us, and it has been with us for centuries. It's just been called different things.
Right.
Like in the, like 20 years ago, employee engagement, keeping your employees engaged, and not that you're going to make everybody happy all the time. No, you can't. Nobody can make everybody happy all the time, but knowing that, you're investing in people and valuing them and their contributions, their perspectives and stuff is very, very important. And that can help increase, loyalty, whether it's an employee, a customer, in the education system, it can improve. It can make the difference between a pass and a fail. The amount of interest a student takes in your course, because, like, do they think that you really care about them and their progress? Because they do take it to heart, and
it sticks with them.
Yeah, it does, and it's like, how much of effect are you having on their life by labeling them? Like, I used to work at in adult education for GED and ESL programs for adults, and there were so many adults in our U.S. system, education system, that were coming to us that just fell through the cracks. They were labeled, and it's like a cycle, and no one really, I wouldn't say no one, but either no one to few took the time to speak with them, like, what's going on with in your life right now. So let's see what barriers need to be addressed. I hate that word barriers, but that's the term they use. Need to be addressed before we can work on this goal. So it's like, I was going to say Pavlov's dog. Maslow, is it the hierarchy of needs?
Right.
And
Maslow's, Maslow's.
Maslow's, thank you. I was like Maslow's. I'm combining Maslow's.
They're all in the same. They're all in the same teachings. Yeah,
exactly. So if they don't have their food and housing, their security met, they're not gonna be the chances of them being successful in the goal that they're there to work on significantly decrease. So there are so many, like, even not even just in low income neighborhoods, but in some of the or school districts, but in some higher end school districts, there might be people who are struggling financially or living through in a household that has domestic violence, being have a family member that is addicted to drugs. There's all these things and that could be happening that are affecting the people in the household that spill over into other parts of their lives. And if you just assume, as
We know what
people tend
that
to do,
stands
we always
for.
assume, yeah.
Yes.
People always assume the worst.
Yeah.
Our mind just goes there, and assumptions are often wrong, and they're not 100% wrong, but they're often wrong. And so
And what
having
does
to
it
just
take to just
talking with people.
possibly ask the person, are they just having a bad
Exactly.
day? Is there something you can do to help? Doesn't
Hmm.
mean that they're just,
Yeah. Yeah.
instead of jumping, just say, oh, they're just pissy or they really like the job. Maybe something went really wrong on their way to work.
Yeah.
Who knows?
You
Or
never
at
know.
home,
Yeah.
you don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, but letting them know that you're there for them now or whenever they need to talk, that you care,
Yeah.
that you see them and see that something might be going on, whether it's you that they talk to or, somebody else. It's like, it's just knowing that people see them
Hmm.
and don't think the worst is very
Right.
important. And that's part of being inclusive and and seeing the person. So regardless of who or where they come from, who they are or where they come from. So
Yeah. Well, how would you say personal experiences shape your commitment to creating equitable opportunities for all?
yeah, the personal experiences, like all my struggles, as I said, from education, like when I was in high school, as I said, I was taking the highest courses and all, and getting pretty good grades. I had no guidance from the counselors. The counselors wanted to be people's friends.
Hmm.
So there was no guidance there. When I got to university, I was like lost. I went on probation my first semester, failed the course, got a D in another course, and I mean I was studying all the time. So I was just struggling, and I didn't know where to go or where to get help, and nobody was helping me. And I did find one resource, but you think that resource would have guided me to other resources. They didn't. And it's um, just all those struggles and barriers that I had to go through in my educational system and then in my work of not being taken seriously because I'm not the tallest person. I'm Latina. I smile a lot. I love to laugh. I love to sing and whistle and all. And when I'm by myself in my office, I might be whistling or humming a song or something like that, and it keeps me going. Like whistle while you work. But
Right.
and it's so it can come off as flaky. When I was in grad school, in PT school, my internships uh, didn't the first few didn't go so well because people who I was under kept changing and they
Hmm.
didn't like each other. So they took it on me. My books were stolen. Things were like by people in my intern where I interned at, and my university thought it was me. And even though I was doing great in my courses, and the director, I mean, I had great it was a medical one. I was great patient rapport, and I remember one practical exam that I was doing. It was with the interim director was monitoring it, and one of my classmates was the patient, acting as the patient, and I came in with a smile, asking, and the interim director said, "What the hell are you doing?" I was like, wait, pardon my language there. And I said, "Excuse me," and he repeated it, and he said, "Why are you smiling?" I was like, like, okay. And he said, and I said, well, I like to smile, it's good patient rapport. And he said, well, it makes you look like, I said, an airhead. He's like, exactly. And I was like, wow. And my classmate was just like, he was on his stomach. He's like, so, I mean, there's things like that people just assume, and
I would
think
say
the
that's somebody
worst.
that was not very happy with their life.
I agree. I agree.
Mhm.
But at that time, I was so young. I mean, you're young and you take things to heart, and
Yeah.
you uh like if you don't have at that time, I mean, I didn't have low self-esteem, but I was very critical of myself, and um it affected me. And so it's um so there's all these different things in the work, and feeling like I have to prove myself all the time, and employers just throwing more on my plate and not paying more, and then me not
Right.
didn't know how to advocate, and also all these experiences that I went through. And I eventually learned, like, oh my gosh, why did I do that? And I learned a lot. And so all those experiences made me want to help others. And that's why went into teaching, why I went into the adult ed, and helping
And you
immigrants
have
and
a
refugees, and to have a podcast. Yeah. Yeah.
Diverse and
Yes. And so, because I want to be a voice, not the voice, but a voice for these populations, for anyone who feels like they're struggling, that they're hitting barrier or wall and not feeling heard or valued. They don't know where to go, what direction to go in, on the individual side. For the
Mhm.
organization side, it's like, well, if you have managers and supervisors and leadership that need help or guidance in how to better interact with globalized populations, and marginalized populations, how to assess their organization, like how effective if they don't have any DEI, but if they do have
Right.
DEI, how effective are their initiatives, and are the leaders actually walking the walk or just checking the box? Because if they're just checking the box, I can tell you right now, their initiatives are not going to be work at all.
No.
Um, and it's so for the organization side, helping them help not just their marginalized their employees from marginalized populations, but all the employees feel valued and heard, and working on programs, letting them know what kinds of programs they can start implementing, what kinds of policies they can put in place, how they can walk, things that they can do to show that they care about these initiatives, walking the walk, showing up, and interacting with their teams. And it's just those things are very, very important, to let employees and even in educational institutions, but know that all levels of employees, from a volunteer and custodian all the way up, that they're valued. So a custodian feels just as valued, and feel and knows that their work is just as uh, impactful and
Right.
meaningful as the CEOs, right? And
Yeah.
so, because it's like they all work together. I like to compare it to the military. I compare it to so they often say the non-commissioned officers are the backbone of the army or the military,
Yep.
because oftentimes they're the ones doing the work, being directed on what to do, right? And if nobody's doing the work, you can give all the direction in the world, but if they're not, if they don't feel valued, they're going to do it not as good as they should.
Right.
They're not going to put their full effort in, because they don't feel valued. And um, also, part of my organization thing is letting them know how to get their why out, across the organization, because that's another important thing for employees to know across the organization is, why are we doing what we do? what's the impact? What's the value to the, not just the organization, but outside the organization? But if people know their why, that's going to help them get through those days that are, and there are going to be days where they're not going to be as good as others, where they have certain types of meetings they have to go to, or they have to do certain mundane tasks that they don't fully enjoy,
Right.
but it's part of what some of the duties they have to do. But if they know the why, they'll be able to get through those and just fine. And it's like, okay, it's just part of this. This is contributing towards the bigger picture.
Right.
And I don't have to do this all the time. It's just one of the things I need to do. So.
Yeah. And I know we could go on and on about this, because I know there's a lot more you have to share. We do only have about 4 minutes left. So I know time flies when we're having fun. So tell us, what do you want people most to know, and what vision do you hold for a future where diversity is celebrated, inclusion is the norm, and equitable opportunities are accessible to all?
Oh, wow. So most to know is, if you have questions, feel free to contact me at Diversifuse, Andrea at diversifuse.com. There's my website, diversifuse.com. There's no HTTPS. And so feel free to scan that QR code and get in touch with me for a free discovery call, 30-minute discovery call. See how my services can be a fit for your organization, or if you're an individual, how we can work together to help you reach your goals with a DEI focus. But when it comes to diversity and inclusion, I just want people to know that this world is beautiful, and what makes it beautiful is all the variety. So think of people as a garden of flowers, at your local, I can't remember what those things are called, the garden places. But, if you only have one flower, yeah, that's great. That's pretty. But when you have a variety of flowers,
Yeah,
so
go into one of
gorgeous.
them greenhouses or whatever, and you
Yeah.
just got like flowers everywhere, or the landscaping companies have them. It's just fun to go pick them out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this world has beauty in it. Open up your eyes, welcome it, see
Stop
it,
judging
and
it.
stop judging it. Smell the
Yeah.
roses.
Yeah, smell the roses, stop judging it. But
Mm-hmm.
I think it's absolutely beautiful what you're doing,
Thank
and
you.
I'm
Thank you
glad
so
you're doing it.
much.
And yeah,
Thank you.
we've all had different struggles, some more than others, but
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, definitely.
yeah. But like you said, it's a beautiful world out there. We can gain all kinds of different perspectives. So yeah. I want to thank you for coming on and sharing all that with everybody.
Thank you so much for having me, Laura.
Oh, you're
I
welcome.
really enjoyed our conversations.
Thank you. And anybody else that is struggling or can relate to things that Andrea's gone through, or maybe you're going through similar situations or have been through them, definitely reach out to her, because obviously you can tell she's been there, done that.
Yeah.
and she can help you. So I want to thank everybody for joining us today, and we will see you again next week.